Okay, welcome back to the channel. And what I want to talk to you about today is how the body works. And one of my favorite drills that I do, and I do this quite a lot actually, just to sort of maintain my swing when I'm practicing how my body should be moving. It really teaches me everything I need. I think the most important thing here is it teaches, I can feel the pressures moving in my feet, okay, and how I'm using the ground properly. Here, that's a real buzzword at the moment, how to use the ground, but I can really feel it when I'm doing this drill. So come on, let's go do it. Okay, so the body is really, really important, and what it does in how I'm learning it now is it really helps to steer and help to shape the club around our bodies, okay? The golf club swings around me in a circle, and my body's job is to help to support that and to direct the momentum, as we call it, or the club swinging around on its right path. So it's not the overall controlling factor here because the hands and arms still have a role to do, but it's got to be combined up and work together. So yes, so once you've mastered how the arms should work, then you've got to start learning how the body works. And this is really the next step up. So using this drill that I do this probably every single day, where possible, even without the pulleys that I've got here as well, but it's called the pulley drill. And it's like if you go to a gym and you've got these pulleys, you're going to learn how to use the pulleys, you know, efficiently. You're going to get the body moving correctly. And I was always taught, okay, and there's no right way or wrong way in golf. Yes, there's loads of different ways to swing a golf club, but this is how I've found that it makes more sense to me. And I'm a golf pro of 25 plus years now, and I was always taught to turn. Okay, you've got to turn the body, turn and pivot. Okay, and yes, that's true, and it does look like you're turning. Yes, the shoulders do turn and so on, but it was always taught that everything's got to turn and move together and rotate. It was always about rotation, okay? But turn and pivot really is what I've learned are really the wrong sort of words to use, all right? There's more, they move in straight lines, and I've talked about this plenty of times before, and you're probably bored of me talking about it, but they really do work in a straight line. And what I'm going to do with this drill is it really teaches me as well the importance of how the legs move, but also I can feel the pressure moving in my feet as I'm doing this, all right? So everything's working straight back and in straight lines. So my right hip will go back and my left hip will go back. Yes, it looks like they're turning, but I'm not actually physically thinking about turning, okay? I'm actually thinking about pushing and pulling, all right? And that's really what I'm working on. I'm using the ground effectively here. That's going to help me to create speed and power, all right? And I'm an older golfer now, okay? I'm not as young as I used to be, but I can still keep it going, if that makes sense. I'm not as fast as I used to be. These guns aren't as big as they used to be, and you'll find that as you hit this wall, as soon as you get to like late 40s, I'm 50 this year, but as soon as you hit this sort of wall, or suddenly all your power just goes like that. So keep it while you can, all right? And I actually learned now to stay more flexible as opposed to lifting weights. I do a bit of both, to be fair. But anyway, so the pulley drill. What is the pulley drill? So what I've got here, ideally you'd want something a little heavier to have the pulley on. But I've got these bands which you can buy on Amazon or anywhere cheap. You don't have to spend a fortune on these things. And what I've got here is I've just put it under my golf bag, and it's going to be like as if I'm pulling back and forth, all right? So there's enough elasticity in these to pull back and forth. I don't need too much tension, to be fair. But I'm going to take my golf stance, okay? And I've got these here. I've got one in my right hand, one in my left hand. And all I'm going to do here is just the act of just pulling on this, okay? Now, if I go and pull on this, I'm not just going to just use my hands and arms, okay, to do this. I'm going to try and activate the body. And what I mean by that is I'm going to feel, actually, to start this, if I'm going to pull it back, I can actually feel a bit of pressure suddenly move into my right foot. This is activating foot pressure. And I'm going to feel it move to my right hand side, and my right leg's going to react to that by then pushing back a little bit. Now, it doesn't need to go dead straight, okay, but I'm actually going to feel as I push this back, okay, I can feel my right hip goes backwards, okay, as I'm pulling that back. I'm trying to keep it on the same angle. I'm not trying to lift up here or go lower. I'm trying to keep them on the same angle as I've set up at address here, okay? Now I'm going to feel this motion here, and what this does is this is going to feel everything work backwards. So my right hip is going back, my chest is opening up, I can feel my right scapula stretching and pulling as I'm doing this, okay? So I can feel my shoulder going backwards as well. This is going to keep me central, and you'll see it the other camera angle when I do it the other way around. But I can really feel everything pulling backwards here, but I can feel it in my right leg. I can feel my right leg pushing my right hip backwards. I'm not thinking turn, I'm thinking back, all right? And I can feel pressure pushing into my right heel as I do this. So back, I can feel that right heel pushing into the ground, okay? That's my backswing. My left leg's come forward just to support that motion, but my right hip has gone back. It's gone deeper back than where it started from. We don't want to hold the right hip still and then pivot round that. We want to push the right hip back, okay? So pull it back, and that's my right hip position. I'm getting a nice full turn here. My shoulders are 90 degrees. Hips will be 45, if not more. But I'm feeling, I remember Tiger once quoted a right glute activated. I can feel my right glute being activated here as I do this, okay? Because I'm pulling on something. It's giving me resistance, all right? What happens from here then, this is really key, there's then transition. I'm then gonna transition myself by moving up into my left-hand side. I'm gonna start preparing for the pull on the left-hand side. By doing that, I'm gonna move up into my left. I'm gonna feel my hip bump across. My right hip stays back and bumps across. This really sets my spine tilt on the other way, and you'll see this on the other angle. So back, bump to my left, okay? I've hit into my left side, as they call it. I've now got my left leg. I can feel pressure now moved into my left ball of my foot. I've gotten pressure for there now, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this back and feel the pressure here. Okay, so I move up to my left and pull back, and again I can feel the weight move from my ball of my foot into the heel. I can feel my left leg pushing my left hip back, okay, as I swing through. So this transition happens as I'm swinging the arms back still. So as I'm going back here, I'm moving into my left, and then from here I can then start pushing that left hip out the way, okay? So I'm going back, up, and push back, okay? From here then what will happen is my right foot then, you can see I've rolled onto the inside of my right foot, and then from here, obviously I can then release up and come through because the ball's long gone at that point. That's really important. That's just to show you from here. So right hip will go back, up into the left side, and then push the left hip back. The key feeling from that is to feel that when I push the right hip back and move up into the left, is that my left hip is going back to meet the right hip, okay? So the right hip's gone deeper than it was at address. It's gone back to meet it in the same sort of depth. This keeps my center of my pelvis from moving up into the ball. We talk about early extension. I want to try and keep it as far back as I possibly can, okay, when I hit the ball. Once you've got to about here, your hands are about here somewhere, then you can come up, all right? This is just a great drill to feel, because I was taught many years ago, you've got to store the right hip, or keep the right leg straight, keep it solid, and you've got to turn around that point. And what I found with this was, I used to always move the left hip forward as I did that. And my butt used to, even if I had it up against a kitchen surface or something, used to always come away, because I was always pivoting the left hip off that, around that right hip. And then from there, then I'm always moving up and into the ball. So I'm always, as I'm swinging it, moving up into the ball. I want to be feeling right hip deep, back, and pushing through, okay? So it's really, really important. So I'm going to show you from the other angle, and you'll get a perspective of what I'm doing when I'm swinging back and forth this way as well. So, okay, so this is what it looks like from face on, all right? So again, I've got the pulleys, I've got something very heavy on the end of here. You can have a friend stand on the end of it or hook it round something that's solid. Obviously make sure it doesn't ping out, okay? I'm a bit risking it here, but if it pings out, you might hurt yourself. But again, I've got just enough tension to be able to move it. I don't need to be dragging it and pulling it hard. It's not a workout. So again, I'll take my stance. Again, I've got the pulleys. Again, they're a certain angle. They're probably at a driver's sort of angle shaft. And this is just the feeling that I'm going to get. So again, I'm just going to activate it by just feeling that slight pressure push into my right foot, okay, moving into my right heel. And I can just feel pressure moving into that right foot. So it could start left and go right if you wanted it to. So that's the most common thing, is left and right. You know, the old forward presses that we used to talk about many years ago. And what I'm going to do here is just do that again. So I'm just going to feel that pull up here like so. Okay, so I'm pulling up here. Now what this does is this keeps me nice and fairly central. There's a little bit of movement, lateral movement, but I'm pushing more backwards as opposed to turning, okay? But I can feel everything working correctly. I can feel the pressure in my right heel. My right leg has pushed back, but it hasn't straightened as such. It's still got a slight bit of bend in it, and I've got good support network here going on in my lower half. But I can really feel like I've turned 90 degrees, right hip back. Now this is the key thing. So as I'm going back, I'm moving up into my left side, and there's this slight little hip bump as I move up into my left side, I'm pushing this way. This is going to move me up into my left even more, and I can feel pressure building into the ball of my foot, of my left foot, sorry. So I can feel it in there. I'm bracing the left side up so that when I get here, I can then start to then push. I'm using the ground to push off. So I'm pushing, my left leg is pushing back, and this is pushing my left hip back as well. I'm pushing away from the ball, okay? So my right hip goes back, stays back as I move up into the left side, and then I'm pushing off the left side, okay? So I'm pulling this way, I can feel it, the tension here. It's the same as if I was trying to pull it and pull this way, all right? Really, really important. Move up the left side and pull this way. Obviously at this point here, I'd be about here somewhere, and then I can come up and through. It doesn't matter so much after that. I can then stand up, all right? So it's really important you feel that motion and move it. I can often do it now without the bands, but sometimes I had the bands in there to give me a bit of a feeling of tension, okay, and stress, strain in the swing. So I'm feeling everything here. I'm pulling back, right hip goes back, okay, it's gone further back than what it started out. I move up into my left side. This sets the tilts in my body so my arms can drop down on a shallower plane. So back, so I'm going back, up into my left side, and then I'm going to use the ground to push off against. So back and push off, okay, and then I can come up and through the swing. It's really, really important that you work on that, and it's about blending that into the swing and blending it into the motion. But I'm going to feel that when I'm practicing, okay, without taking anything off, okay. I've only just got my clubbers back as well from being repaired. So basically I'm just going to feel that motion back up into the left side, and then I'm pushing off that left leg as I swing through. After that, then I can swing up and around. But that's the feeling I'm going to create a good turn up into the left side and push, okay. So you need to practice that as much as you possibly can. You don't need to hit golf balls, you don't need to hit clubs, just to get the motion, you get the feeling of everything working backwards. That's the key thing. Right hip back, left hip back. You don't want to be thinking of turn so much. The turn is, yeah, they do look like they turn and so on. Turn is probably the wrong word, okay? You want to think pulling back is what you really want to be thinking about. It's going to create a torque in the ground. You're going to feel the pressure in the ground. I keep doing this motion here with my hands because this is what I feel like. I feel like my right foot is pushing and my left foot's pushing back. I feel like I'm pushing in the ground. That's what I really am working on. So it's really, really important you practice that, and it's a skill that once you develop good body motion, then they sort of looks after itself, and it helps to direct the club. So as the club is going back, I'm pushing away, okay, and as I'm coming down to here, I'm pushing away. And this is what creates this extension of the arms through impact. Is this pushing back and this pushing away motion creates the arms to extend naturally. If they're relaxed, that is. If you're tense, then it's never going to happen. But if I'm pushing back, that creates this arm extension that everybody craves about, okay? It should happen naturally without you having to really force arm extension, all right? So body work is important, it really is, but you have to train it correctly, okay? You need to be able to use the hands and arms first and then train in body action, all right? Anyway, I've waffled on for a long time. Right? It's longer than normal. I've gone back to being longer again. I was trying to do shorter, but let me know in the comments below if you prefer longer ones. Some of you probably wouldn't have got this far because what I was seeing on the stats was 3 or 4 minutes. People were bored of my voice. That's fine. But please, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. Please like it, and please comment below as well. Really important that you comment. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel about this video. You know, I get good and bad all the time. But yeah, let me know how you feel. If it's resonated with you and you think, yeah, actually that makes sense, it really does. It's nothing new in golf. There's nothing new to learn. This is from my coach, which is Mike Malaska. So you must go and check him out as well at malaskagolf.com. And there'll be we have a discount code for him as well for $20 off. If you go and join his site, you can come and join me and my associates and Mike on his website, because I'm a certified instructor. Come and join us on there, and you can learn really how to play proper golf and really learn to really improve your golf swing. But also not just about learning to improve your golf swing, it's about learning your understanding it and your knowledge of the golf swing as well, because it makes it a heck of a lot easier, I can promise you. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next week.